Happy Monday. Well, guys, it's sorry I'm not there today with you guys. I'm at a yearbook conference. We have one of our yearbook deadlines this week. So at a yearbook conference hosted by our publisher, and hoping to get most of that knocked out so that we can have an awesome yearbook. So anyways, if you haven't bought a yearbook yet, you should buy one. You can buy them online at balfour.com, BALFOUR.com. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to jump into a new unit where we're talking about the area of composite figures. And on Friday of last Friday, we looked at the area and circumference of circles. So we're going to kind of still use that a little bit, but we're going to be looking at it more in terms of 3D shapes in a little bit. So we're going to start with a triangle. This is just composite figures. These are 2D shapes. So I'm going to give you the formulas for all of these shapes, how to find the area of all of these, and then we're going to work with some examples with them. So the area for triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, so B equals base, H equals height. So you just multiply the base times the height, and then that times 1/2. So that's for a triangle. For a square, let me do this in a different color. A square is the measure of the sides squared. So S equals side. So it's the side times the side. Okay, that's what that means. Side squared means side times side. Okay, for rectangles, all right, a rectangle's area formula is just base times the height. Okay, base times the height. Parallelogram. A parallelogram looks like this, where you have two parallel lines. Okay, maybe some diagonal lines on the sides. But anyways, a parallelogram is base times the height. Same as a rectangle. And then we have a trapezoid. And a trapezoid can look like this, or it can look like this. Alright, so a trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, so let me explain this. Part of a trapezoid is a triangle. Do you see how there's a triangle at the end here, and then even over here we have two little triangles on each side? So trapezoids are made of a rectangle and triangles, or a triangle and rectangle. And so you have to combine the triangle formula with the rectangle formula. It's basically what you're doing there. So you're taking 1/2 of the base 1 and base 2. So because in a trapezoid you have two bases, and we're going to get in that, and you have a height, because there's a height of the triangle. Okay, there's two bases, and then there's a height. So we're going to look at what those bases are in just a little bit, but that's basically what that's talking about. Alright, so let's do example 1. Example 1. How might you go about finding the area of this figure? Well, what you need to do is you need to rely on your former knowledge. So you probably would just separate them into shapes that you already know, that we know, and find the area of each of those. Then you add them together. So if you need to stop the video right now, that's totally fine. Stop it, pause it, let everybody catch up, get this in there, and then we're going to look at these different shapes. Okay, so if you look at this shape, it's a weird shape. But within that shape, you can see there's a triangle here, a rectangle, and a rectangle. Oh, and there's a triangle here. So you could separate them into different shapes, find the area of each of those using the formulas for those shapes up here, and then add it all together. And that would give you the area of that whole shape. Alright? So let's look at the back, and we're going to walk through that. We're going to walk through that together. Okay, so basically here what you have are two different, you have a parallelogram on the top, okay, and then you have a trapezoid on the bottom. Okay. So what we can do is we first want to separate it into a parallelogram. Sorry, there's only one R. Parallelogram. And a trapezoid. That's the two shapes that make up that whole figure. Okay? So now we're going to break that down into into separate steps. We're going to find the parallelogram first. So if we look back at our first page for our formula of a trapezoid, of a parallelogram, area equals the base times the height. Okay? Well, let's look at that parallelogram up here. The parallelogram has a base of 10 centimeters, because the reason I know that this is 10 centimeters, because this is 10 centimeters, and these little lines right here tell us that they are equal. So this is 10 centimeters, and this is also going to be 10 centimeters. So our base is 10 centimeters. Okay, our height is right here. This is your height. Okay, so this was our base. This is our height. Our height is 1.5 centimeters. So all we have to do now to get the area of that part of this figure for the parallelogram is multiply those together. So 10 times 1.5, well, really you just move the decimal over once since you're multiplying by 10, and that's going to give you an area of 15 centimeters squared, because we have 2 centimeters that we're multiplying together, so centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. Okay, so that's the area of the parallelogram. For the trapezoid, our area formula was 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, so this is the one I told you we would revisit. Here we are. So here's our trapezoid. All right. Base 1. Base 1 is what we're going to call the upper base. That is 10 centimeters. And base 2 is our lower base, and that is 7 centimeters. Okay, if you need to stop this video anytime, please do catch up. That'd be great. The height of this, let's look at the height. The height of our trapezoid is right here. It's this, oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not a straight line, sorry. That is a curved line, so that's not going to be quite the height. The height actually comes right here, where this little triangle is. This is the height. It's 1.5 centimeters. So now, let's plug in what we know into our formula. So again, area is 1/2 times base 1, which was 10, plus base 2, which was 7, times 1.5. So we can go ahead and do that addition part here in the parentheses. We know that equals 17. And then we're going to multiply that by 1.5. Well, 17 times 1.5, 35, 8. And then we're going to add a 0. 170. Okay. So we have 5. I'll put that 2 there. 5. We're going to add those up now. 5. That's 15. There's the 2. Alright, and then we had one number after the decimal, so we're going to put the decimal there. So our area is 1/2, we haven't done that part yet, times 25.5. What we did here is we multiplied these two numbers. So now we have to do what this really means. 1/2 times something is, it really means you're taking this and you're dividing this by 2. That's what a half is. When you half something, you divide it into 2. So we could do 25.5 divided by 2, and 2 goes into 25. 12 times. 12 times 2 is 24. You're left over 1, pull down your 5. That is a 7. 2 goes into 7, 2 goes into 15 7 times. 2 times 7 is 14 with a remainder of 1. Pull down your 0, and we stop right there. Okay, so we got our area is 12.75 centimeters cubed. That's the area of this whole trapezoid. Okay, so are we done with the area of this whole figure yet? No. We need to add this parallelogram area that we got up here, which was 15 centimeters squared, and the area of the trapezoid, which we just got, 12.75 centimeters squared. We're going to add those together. When we add 15 plus 12.75 together down here, we get 27.75. So the area of the whole figure, let's do that a different color, is 27.75. Yay! Alright, so you have to break it down into different figures, find the area of each of those figures, and then add them together. So, let's look back here. Okay? Let's do this first one. So, let's see, we see a rectangle here in the middle. What else do you see? I see 2 separate triangles. Okay, I have a triangle there and a triangle there. Okay, so let's do the rectangle first. the rectangle is going to be, the area of a rectangle is just base times height. So we have the base is not 8. Why is it not 8? Look at this. Because that's just from here to here. That's 8. We have to add this 3 in over here. So we have 11 is the base times the height, which is 4. So our area of our rectangle is what? 44 square feet. Okay? So that's one measurement we're going to need. So let's take the little small triangle. Small triangle, which we coded blue. Small triangle. Okay, the area formula is area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So let's do that. We have 1/2 times the base of the triangle, which was 3 feet, times the height, which was 2. So the base is 3 feet, the height is 2 feet, and I got that from right here and right here. Okay, so we have 1/2 times 3 times 2, which is just 1/2 times 6, right? We can multiply 3 and 2 together. And that gives us half of 6 is 3. 3 feet, 3 square feet is the area of the little triangle. So let's write that in. 3, this was 44. Now we need to find the area of the green triangle, the larger triangle. Do that over here so I have more room. Large triangle. Again, our formula is 1/2 base times height. So let's put that in. 1/2 times our base, which is 3, and our height, also 3 on this one. We have a 3 and a 3. So that translates to 1/2 times 3 times 3 is 9, right? So 1/2 of 9, what is a half of 9? 4.5 square feet. Okay? So now we have these 3 figures, and we're going to just add them together. We have 44, 3, and 4.5. We get the area of the whole thing is 51.5 square feet. Area is always a square unit because it's 2 dimensions. Okay? So that's the area of this whole figure over here. Alright? Let's do this one. We have a square because it's 10 by 10. Okay, a square. And we have a semicircle. Now, we haven't learned, you were like, well, we haven't learned how to do the area of a semicircle. Yeah, but it's just a circle cut in half. So it's just half of a circle. Because you realize here, this circle would just keep going over here. Okay? So, we could do that. We can do that. So let's do the square. Square is just, we go back to our formulas. The square is sides times itself. Side squared. Square is side squared. So the side is 10. 10 squared equals 100. 100 meters squared. Okay, so that's the square. 100 meters squared. Okay. And then the circle Okay, we think back to our circle formula from last Friday. Circle, does anybody remember it? Area equals pi times the radius squared. Not the circumference, but the area. So we're going to see what is the radius. Well, we know this measurement here is 10. So that's the diameter. The diameter is 10 meters. So the radius has to be 5 meters. If our diameter is 10, then our radius is half of that, it's 5. So we're going to use 3.14 for pi times 5 times 5, because that's what this means. Radius squared is the radius times the radius. So 3.14 times 5 times 5. Alright, I'm going to save you some time. You could do that math if you needed to. You could do 3.14 times 25. It's going to give you 39.25 meters squared. Okay, so 39.25 meters squared is the circle. But that's not what this whole thing is. We don't have a whole circle. It's a half of a circle. So we are going to need to divide. We're going to need to divide. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I got ahead of myself. The whole circle is not 39.25. This, if you did 3.14 times 5 times 5, you would get 78.5 meters squared. That's what this whole circle would be. But we have to divide that into 2 because this is a semicircle. It's only half of that. So 78.5 divided by 2 is going to give you this 39.25. Okay, 39.25. So now we need to add 39.25 and 100. So that's pretty easy. The whole thing is going to be 139.25 meters squared. Okay, this whole figure. Okay, we're going to skip example 2 for now. And I want you to try to do the back. So let me show you where there's only 4 of them. Alright, I want to show you how I broke these down into shapes for you. So we have a whole triangle here. Okay, so the whole triangle, the bottom of this triangle is 12 feet because this whole side is 15. Okay, but this whole side is not just this triangle. We have this triangle, it stops here. That's 3 feet in because this part is 3 feet right here. So this part's 12 to make 15. So we have 12 feet, and then we have 6 feet plus another 6 feet. I get 6 from this measurement right here. So the height is 12 feet, and the base is also 12 feet. We know that the area of a circle is 1/2 the base times the height. So area 1/2 times the base, which was 12, times the height, which is 12. So that is 1/2 times 144, right? Because 12 times 12 is 144. And what's 1/2 of 144? We can do that really quickly. We could do it over here. 144 divided by 2. That's going to be 72. Okay, so So the area of just that triangle is 72 square feet. I'll circle that. And then you have this little rectangle. The area of a rectangle is area. I'll do this in a different color for you. Area equals base times height. The base of this rectangle is 3 times the height, which was 6. So that's just 18 square feet. And we're going to add 18 and 72 together. And we get 90. 90 square feet is the total area of this figure. Now, you could have done this in different ways. You could have made a little triangle here with a trapezoid. There's different ways you could break that up into different figures. And down here on this one, I want you to do the semicircle. So, look here, what you have here, you have a half, and a half, and another half, and another half. So once you find the area of this circle, there's 2 complete circles here. 2 circles and 1 square. Okay, here's the square. Here we have 1 rectangle and 1 triangle. Here we have we have 1 square. So I'll highlight that for you. Okay, then we have a rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. So we have a square, rectangle, rectangle. And then we're going to add all those together. Okay, so I want you to do this now in class. We'll grade your builders tomorrow from last week. You'll get your new builder 21 tomorrow as well. And we'll go over this tomorrow. There is no video tonight, okay? All right. Have a good night. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.